I can't tell you how many times people stop me and ask me, how did you become an empath? When did you know you were an empath? When did you know you were psychic? When did you know that you could use and leverage energies to help other people? Well, it's kind of a hard story to tell, but I tell it because I know sometimes it might help the person I'm telling because they're trying to negotiate if they're an empath or if they're just really have high perceptive skills when they walk into a situation, or it may help a loved one. In a most recent situation, I had a woman who is in tears, and we were out and about in the community, and her daughter is struggling. And I said, let me take a guess. Was she about 9 or 10 years old when she developed these skills? And this became a little more, which I didn't want to have happen to her, but she said, how'd you know that? I said, because that was about the age it hit me. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Folks, this was the 80s. I will tell you, these bangs got higher and higher as they went on, but this is me around that age, maybe a couple years older, but this was my journey. This was where it kind of started. This is a grainy picture. Apologize for that, and apologize for the perm. It was the rage. If you were there, you know. But this girl is me, and I am the woman now that I wish she had in her life then. Because when I was 10, my story wasn't a traditional story. It wasn't the normal story. And I'll preface this by saying my siblings most likely would agree with me or disagree with me. They agree on some points, but maybe not all, because they weren't the black sheep. They didn't have these abilities. So I was kind of cast off into society a little differently than they were and treated a little differently. I have and had an alcoholic narcissist mother, and I was her target. At 10, I developed these abilities, and they were hush-hushed. They took me to a psychologist who wanted to medicate me. They said, the psychologist, I remember sitting in that office thinking, oh, okay, we're going to talk about this stuff. Let's be honest. And she said, I'm the problem in my family. That I was the problem. And I always thought, I would say for years later, I always thought therapists, and I think they're wonderful, absolutely amazing and helpful, but I always thought that they were going to attack me the way this woman did. So my parents take me there. My mom's drinking when I was 10 started to amplify tremendously. And now what you don't see in this picture, that I cropped out of this picture, is my siblings. I have a sister and a brother who have had much different experiences there. But part of the empath's journey is transmuting pain. It's transmuting personal pain. It's transmuting other people's pain. It's starting to kind of understand what it means to truly live in high definition human emotions. High definition human. Imagine living in high definition human emotions. So this girl struggled. She was, and I am, same person, right? Extremely intuitive, extremely empathetic. And I started absorbing what wasn't mine to carry. And I didn't have the boundaries. Honest to God, Girl Scouts honor, I didn't learn boundaries until I was in my 40s. And I will tell you, when I did, the people that were not used to me having boundaries, they didn't like it. So when they didn't like my boundaries, guess who else they didn't like? Me. And as an empath, an intuitive, a psychic, a medium, a light worker, label me as you wish. I am here to help and heal, move the collective, bring the energies to help you live your joyful life, because you have one precious life. I mean, you've been here many other times. I don't want to argue with anybody from a religious standpoint, but our souls, I believe, and many others, get recycled until we learn the lessons, right? That's how I think deja vu comes into play. That's how I think experiences come into play. But that girl was 10. She didn't know what she was dealing with. She didn't know she had a gift. And honestly, as I go through these goddess glimpses, I realize sometimes that if I had had a mentor, if I had had a trainer, if I had somebody, I mean, I was raised Catholic, so I believed obviously in God. I still believe in God, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe in all that is holy. And I have my protecting saints, especially my Archangel Michael. He's my go-to. That's my boy. He shows up when I'm like, oh shit, I'm screwing it up. I need some help. I need support. Clear this for me. But I will tell you, I didn't know how to protect myself. Sometimes I still struggle with that. And you may too if you're super sensitive or you're an empath or you're a light worker. Our journeys are difficult and arduous because we have to make the difference. And to make the difference, we have to experience the pain to help people transmute theirs. I had to learn pain. Yeah. More about that in another goddess clips, but that 10-year-old, 11-year-old girl going through all the physiological changes that girls go through at that age generally, and the emotional changes, she became an empath, intuitive, a psychic, a medium, a light worker, a person here now that I wish I had for myself then. And I'm not going to say it got easier. Folks, it didn't get easier, and there's more to these stories to come, especially having relationships with men, and the narcissist empath connection is one that's so strong. And when you find out what that was like for me, you wonder how I'm still here. Some days I wonder too. I'm like, wow, you really made it, kiddo. Just being here is incredible, but that's how my story began. And I hope you'll follow me and tell me a little bit about your story. What do you want to know what it's like to be an empath, an intuitive, an alchemist, somebody that's out here helping people? But I want to hear your story. So in the chat, have you felt that way? Were you kind of dragged into therapy? And as I said, I love therapists, and I love therapy when it's done properly. But when you are 10 and they're telling you you're the problem, okay, and they're trying to medicate you, please, there are so many kids out there that are special and have this intuitive ability and have this empathetic ability and have these light worker skills that are being over medicated. And I can speak to that with authority because I was a teacher and administrator. That was my path towards healing people, was through that modality. So tell me your story and let's connect.